All right, we're live.
Good morning, everybody. It is almost the end of January. And of course, the slaughterhouse of failure is not in our destiny. We shall persevere until we succeed. And we're actually at a good time to have a little chat about what we're going to do today, what we're going to talk about today. So the first thing that Dan and I started to talk about is he chose this title of How to Create the Life That You Want in 1 Year. And it's got a couple of little chapters in it, and we'd like to go through those. Dan, if you'd like to start.
Yeah, I mean, we finished up the end of last year talking about, goal setting for 2023, how we're going to build our business, how we're going to change our lives, how we're going to change our focus or bring everything into focus. And so today we just wanted to do a little chat on how to create the life that you want in 1 year. And that all kind of starts with doing a life audit, pinpointing where you want to make adjustments and jump-starting this new year. And how you do that is you start by figuring out where you want to change the 8 areas of your life. So health, finances, personal development, your career, relationships, self-care, home life, and free time. What changes in these areas specifically will make the biggest impact in your life in each of those areas? And we're here to talk about, mindset. We're here to talk about our business. What can you do today, next week, next month, that is going to make the biggest impact in your business?
So within what Dan's just mentioned, all of these areas, it's that wheel of life that Tony Robbins talks about. And if the wheel of life is well balanced, it's like the cake, pieces of the cake. If it's well balanced, the wheel turns efficiently. If there's something that is out of sync in that wheel of life, then the wheel is not going to go properly. So for example, you could look at, say, finances and do a brilliant job of finances. And you've done a wonderful job and you're doing very, very well in that. But you've sacrificed your home life for that. So your kids are off the rails and you've made a lot of money, but your kids are off the rails. So the life audit that we're talking about is to make a very harmonious balance of all of these points that Dan was talking about. So health, are you spending enough time at the gym? Are you eating healthy? Are you actually conscious of that? The finances, personal development. We always insist on reading books. Actually, Dan started a thing about the book club. I'd encourage everybody to get on the book club because it's something that inspires us to be able to interchange ideas on what we read. And I think it's important that we read and we improve the mind. Relationships. Are we socially engaged with our families? Do we engage with what the kids are doing, with what our partner is doing? Are we significantly involved with that? The home life, free time. See, these are things that basically it all revolves around time. And it's the distribution of our time to make it efficient, to make it fruitful, to make it that we're really doing something. So even when we talk about, changing your life in 1 year, create a life that you want in 1 year, it's not like retiring in 1 year. It's getting in motion everything in a harmonious way that'll take some time to do. But that's what we're trying to aim for the first part of it.
Yeah, some of these things are going to require that you get out of your comfort zone. Some of these things are not going to be easy. Some of these things are going to require certain levels of sacrifice. And mindset shift. So the second thing that you can do to create the life you want in the next year is, change your mindset. Your mindset's what sets the tone for everything in your life. So changing your mindset is what's going to change your life. What we think and believe is what we act upon. If we believe that we're going to be successful, we're going to take the right actions to create the success that we want. So you need to change your perspective from now on. Anytime something negative happens, instead of feeling like a victim, ask yourself what you can control or change, and then focus on those things that you can control and you can change. Shift that mindset from a negative mindset where you don't think that you can grow, where you don't think that you can reach the sixth level of success that you want, to a more positive mindset, a growth mindset. Because every single person on this call, if you're willing to change, if you're willing to put in the time in yourself to make the changes that you need to be successful, that's going to translate over to your business and everything else that you do in life. So the mindset shift is key, because what we think we can make possible.
Well, on the mind shift, the biggest thing is to know what you want. And that's one of the first questions we ask everybody that we bring into this business. We ask them, first of all, tell me who you are in 5 words. Describe who you are in 5 words. Because by doing that, we start to understand who that person is. What are their priorities? And what do you want? Because if people don't know what they want, the mind shift is kind of like ambling around. They've got to know what they want. So, I think we were talking about this earlier this week, and I was saying that I used to go to a place in Positano in Italy, to a bar when I was studying there. And there was a hippie, an Austrian guy. He was an architect, and he lived with an Australian ex-prostitute. They lived in a cave. And he was a painter, he was an artist, but he was also an architect in Austria. He decided to give all that up, go and live in a cave and paint for a living. And he used to come and be in the nightclub there for, 5 or 6, 7, 8, 10 days, and then he'd disappear. He'd go and paint some more, make some money, and then come and spend the money. And one day I said to him, Rudy, I kind of admire you in one way. I mean, you don't know what country we live in almost. You don't know what currency we have. You don't have a phone. You don't know who's in government. You don't know anything about politics. You know nothing about what's going on. How do you do that? And he said, well, we all have the same engine. Some of us drive with a foot on the brake, and some of us drive with a foot on the accelerator. Choose your speed in life. So that's where we come back to. You've got to know what you want to make that mind shift. So by all means, make a mind shift. And if it's negative, shift it to positive. If it's neutral, put it in gear. Because the mind shift could be just ambling. Oh, it's another year. TGIF, thank God it's Friday. No, don't look at that. You're wasting your life. You're wishing your life away. Thank gosh it's Monday. Rather than thank God it's Friday, you're wishing your life away. So this mind shift is important, but we've got to know what we want, and we've got to know exactly what we want. Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know what you want, you need to create a vision, and that's the third thing that you can do. Because having a vision means we have a clear sense of purpose, right? It means we have a much larger picture of our business, our life, our relationships, than simply setting and reaching short-term goals and tackling problems as they come along. You need to have that vision. You need to have that purpose. And vision is driven by passion and dreams. And then that's reflected through our real efforts to create real results. And from Lawrence's story, one of the things, my takeaways from that is, you eliminate distractions, you change your environment. And that's one of the other, that's going to be one of the next things that you can do to change your life in the next year. But vision and purpose, having passion and dreams, are going to drive both of those things. And what you believe you can become. So that vision is super important for laying out your future, what success you want, your goals, how you want to grow, the creativity, the innovation. These are all things that Pharmanex has given us, and we need to learn how to utilize them to find or to create the vision that we want, what we want in life.
I just noticed John Schwartz's comment about Money Day. Monday, money day. I like that. I've never heard that. So on this creating a vision, and the dreams, I think everybody dreams when they're kids, when they were kids. When you're 16, when you're 15, when you're 18, when you're 20, you're still dreaming. And then life gets in the way. And then we get married, or we find a job somewhere else, and our dreams kind of get put on hold. And most of the dreams that we have never really materialize. So it's important to be able to equate the dreams with the reality. And if we have a dream, then put it into effect, grab it and hold on to it. One of the things I have, and I've always had as my logo, is rekindling the embers of people's burnt dreams. Why? Because I don't want anybody to get to my age and say, I wish I could have, should have, would have. Well, there are no excuses. You can. It's a question of being able to focus and understanding what it is you want. Hold on to those dreams, have the passion and have the conviction to do it, to follow through with that. And don't get distracted. This distraction business is huge. It's always a big problem. We all get distracted by stuff. And so the vision that we create, hold on to it and make a plan and really be convinced that it is possible. And if you're lucky, when I say lucky, if you're focused and you're disciplined, that dream can come true. And there's no reason why dreams and visions that we have should be put into a drawer and left for some time that will never happen.
Absolutely. And then, one of my favorite quotes is by Jim Rohn: work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Because when you work on yourself and you put the right mindset forward, you create a roadmap for what you want, how you're going to get there, working on yourself is going to help you get there. So the fourth one is work on yourself daily. Your vision is important, but once you have that, the fog lifts and your roadmap starts to become clear about what you want, how you're going to get there, that GPS or that roadmap. Nobody's going to drive the car for you, though. You and only you have to put in the work to achieve your goals and change your own life. So key to that is consistent daily practice. That's how you're going to make that happen. If you water the plants just a little each day, over time, your garden will grow. So we need to be spending time on that personal growth aspect of our lives, personal development on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be, hours. It can be 10 or 15 minutes. Read a book. There's so many resources available to us to allow us to grow personally on a daily basis, that none of us should be neglecting ourselves in our personal development journey.
Jim, you mentioned Jim Rohn. He said, don't wish things were easier. Wish that you were better. And basically that's what it is. By working on ourselves, we can make things easier. But it's us that's got to make the difference. We've got to make the difference. When we look at working on ourselves, control negative emotions. If you've got road rage, for example, understand that these are things that are controllable. People shoot each other on the roads for road rage. Are you serious? They carry guns and shoot somebody because of road rage. Well, that's inexcusable. Encourage empathy. this is another big thing, empathy. We're so tied up in what we do every day. We're so busy in what we do. We don't have really time to be considerate, to take some time and listen to the other person and to hear what they're saying. How are you? Not just, how are you doing? No, how are you? How are you feeling? What's going on? Be really interested. And that is where we grow. We personally grow as well, by being able to have the empathy and listening and understanding what to the person we're talking to, understanding the person. I see the dog's grabbing you there.
Yeah, she's trying to get in my lap. Yeah, I mean, you need to live in the moment. I watched a great little clip. David Goggins, if you don't know who he is, he's one of the most. He's an ultra runner. He's kind of one of these guys that does these ultra workouts, and he's an amazing guy. But one thing that he says is that I always am in the moment. He doesn't travel with his cell phone. He doesn't have these distractions. He gets these distractions out of his life, and that's what allows him to be so successful. So all of these things that we're talking about today kind of dovetail into one another. And the next one is actually my favorite. It's, you have to design your environment. What do you want your environment to look like? That's one of those things that we can control. We can control where we're working. We can control, whether we have distractions. So if you want to change your life, you aren't the only thing that has to change. Your environment has to change too. For example, if you always hang out with negative thinking friends, you'll tend to believe the limitations that they're setting for themselves and they're setting for you. However, on the flip side, if you hang out with doers or people who want to see you succeed, there's a much higher chance that you will. So, I'm not just talking about our environment from a spatial perspective. I'm talking about who we're interacting with, who we choose to spend our time with. And this is, goes back to the beginning where, some of these things aren't going to be easy. But I've negated people from my life who weren't allowing me to reach my goals, or who didn't see that I could reach my goals, or who didn't believe in my goals, because I share them with them. I tell them what I want to do. I tell them what I want out of life. And, coming from a medical device background, I talk to medical device reps on a daily basis, and I'm telling them what I'm doing. And they're like, man, that sounds awesome. I hate my job. It's so negative, and I'm like, well, there's a way to get out of that. You need to change your environment. You need to change your goals. You need to change your perspective. You need to change who you're surrounding yourself with, right? All of these things that we're talking about today, it's not that difficult to do, but it's not going to be comfortable, and is going to rely on you to be open to a certain level of sacrifice.
The old saying, birds of a feather flock together. Well, I was just thinking about what you're saying here right now is, in Europe, people take 2 hours for lunch. 2 hours. It's not a 15-minute lunch that while you're eating your lunch, you're actually doing something on the computer. They actually sit down and talk. And I think this is also important, where you have that time where you interchange intellectually, interchange ideas, thoughts, and it stimulates the mind into not just being in the work, because that's where we have a tendency here. We have a tendency to, Kari and I sometimes have lunch standing up. What the hell is that? We stand up in the kitchen and have lunch. What is this? That is not the proper way to have, an interchange of ideas or anything like that. So it's important to be able to be with people, and it doesn't have to be every day, but yes, as much as possible, where we can actually stimulate the mind and grow in our group of similar thinking, like-minded thinking people. And we grow from that. And some people will say, oh, look, I think you're full of it. Nonsense. Say, okay, tell me why. Well, I disagree with this. All right, well, let's discuss it. Rather than, I'm not even going to talk to you because I don't agree with you. Really? Is that the way to do it? We've got to be able to have this relationship with people that allows us to grow. And I think it grows if we talk to each other and if we interchange ideas.
I absolutely agree with that. You know, it's the team concept is what I really love about this organization, and how we all kind of work together. We all have the same mindset. We're all entrepreneurs. We all want something better for our lives. And so number 6 is, you know, learn new skills and improve upon your existing ones. Nobody on this call is the best you're ever going to be at something. So study what other people are doing to become better at what it is that you want. You know, I sat down with a gentleman on Wednesday in Philadelphia, which is about 2 hours from me. And this guy put on a sales clinic. He was trying to sell me on a product that he's looking for some distribution for. And this guy put on a half-hour masterclass in how to sell a product. I mean, slow, steady, slowly ramped up the intensity to get you excited till you were on the edge of your seat. And I told him that. I was like, halfway through the presentation, I'm like, this is a master class in sales, how you properly sell something to somebody. And it was fascinating. It was awesome. And, you know, I learned something from that. So nothing's going to change your life faster than building new skills, right? Whatever the case, imagine a year where you start out having a limited skill set. And then imagine at the end of that year, increasing each one of those skill sets that are going to help you reach your goal. Dedicate time during the day, every day, to build those skills. There's so many resources available to us now. You can learn via books, videos, podcasts, YouTube. You know, there's just so many resources out there that nobody should have an excuse for trying to improve their skills on a daily basis. But all of that's meaningless unless you're physically practicing those skills. And when you first get into this business, there's going to be some hesitancy. There's going to be some complacency. There's going to be things that are holding you back out of fear or, not knowing exactly what to say. But when you're in those positions, you still need to practice daily. That's how you're going to hone the skill. That's how you're going to learn from your mistakes. In med device sales, I trained probably hundreds of medical device reps. You know, I would have them come shadow me for a while. And I quickly learned that those same people that I was training would stay with me and let me train them forever if I allowed it. Never wanting to move on out of fear or complacency or, whatever their particular reason was. But I quickly learned that after about a month, I had to cut them loose and let them make their own mistakes and learn from their mistakes and create their own skill sets, right? By making those mistakes and by presenting something and getting turned down and figuring out how they could come back and try and resell it to somebody. So we always need to be developing new skills, but also improving on the skills that we have. So think about that. What are those skills that you can work on today or develop that will help you move your business forward?
Yeah, again, if we listen to ourselves when we are talking to somebody or with somebody, if we're analytical or we ask somebody, could you give me an analysis of my talk with so-and-so? Oh, you were too long-winded, or you didn't say this, or you should have said that. So the skill sets are even the ones we've got that we can improve on. How can we be better at what we're doing? How can we be more, better at what we do? And not be afraid of asking questions and not be afraid of asking for a critique. It's the only way we grow. is to say, hey, listen, would you tell me what you think about this? How did it go? And not be afraid of having constructive criticism, because that's how we grow as well. Not being afraid to ask. And the even new skills. I mean, we've got everything at our fingertips to learn a new language, to learn a musical instrument, to learn anything we want. This is a country of absolute opportunities, no limitations.
Yeah, like you say all the time, the limitations are only in our mind.
Yeah.
So that comes back to the mind shift, the mindset change, right? And then we're going to wrap this whole thing up by, none of this matters at all if you're not going to enjoy the process, right? And love every moment of it. The whole point of this talk is creating top change. That means your thoughts, your behaviors, your surroundings, they're going to change throughout the year, right? We're not stagnant beings. We're always changing things. So you need to realize that what you initially sought isn't what you want anymore. So your goals and how you're going to reach them, and that roadmap, that GPS, your mindset, that's going to shift throughout the year, because you may want something different. You may find that you want something different. So don't get focused on the process that you lose sight of what you want. And most importantly, have fun in the process.
Absolutely, 100%. And that's the main reason I do what I do in this business, is actually because it's a lot of fun. And I feel like it's constructive teamwork that we may be making a difference to other people. And that's a feel-good thing, where we've got the tools that the company gives us. We've got every possibility of being able to help people achieve their maximum efficiency or their maximum qualities, and according to their work ethic. And that's a lot of fun. It's fun to do that. Sorry.
The ebbs and flows of this business, or any profession for that matter, can be very frustrating if you don't embrace them. I've been in a constant ebb and flow in this business. It hasn't been consistent, and it's not going to be consistent in the future. You go through these cycles of extreme success, and then cycles of not being as successful as you'd like. And that comes by, how do you engage your team? How are you keeping them motivated? How are you keeping them engaged? These calls are important. They're an important process to keep those folks engaged. I mean, I haven't had a lot of success in the last couple of months, but I've re-engaged a few people in the last week, and we've closed several very high volume orthopedic practices just by re-engaging 2 guys on my team. And these are guys that haven't done anything for a while, but things are changing. Med device reps are more agitated with their careers than they ever have been. Pharmaceutical reps, the same thing. Physicians are starting to get really agitated with declining reimbursements, and they're not making what they were making a month ago because of declining Medicare, Medicaid reimbursements. So there's a lot of room for having very impactful conversations about not only how we can drive their top line revenue for their practice, but how we can also help improve the lives of their patients. Right. And that's creating, in our physicians that we're talking to, or the reps, creating that mindset shift, that mindset change that they're all going through, that, hey, maybe med devices or pharma reps aren't going to be a thing in the future. And with all the technologies that we have, I think they're right. So.
I think it's essential that at the same time, Dan, what you're saying is that when we are aware, when we start being aware and we're reading and studying and so on, it shouldn't only be something about some kind of book, but also what's going on around us. Take a temperature of what's going on with our industry, with the whole medical healthcare, sick care industry. Keep a pulse on it, because it's so volatile right now. It's very dynamic, and there are changes going on from one month to the next. So we've got to stay on top of these things too. So read, what is actually happening in the medical industry. See what's happening. Stay on top of it, because we're part of that, and we're going to lead through science, technology, innovation. AI meets DNA, and we're going to be leaders in that. And we've got to be able to be in the saddle riding at full gallop when other people are only starting to realize it.
All right, Lawrence, do you have anything else? It's a little bit after 10.
No, sir. Thank you.
Anybody have any comments?
To anybody else want to say anything? Thank you.
I have a good quote that I came across the other day. I hadn't heard before. It's by Pablo Picasso. So it says, learn the rules like a pro, then break them like an artist. I thought that was great. So any newbies out there, really be coachable. And all those of us who've been around for a while, we know what doesn't work. So just hang on for a bit and really learn and be coachable. And then you can put your own spin on things. That's kind of like what you guys were saying today. So I just wanted to add that.
Awesome. Thanks, Deborah.
Great call. Sum it up in one word for everyone. It's called comfort zone. It's like if you're comfortable, you're in the wrong zone. So there's no money in your comfort zone. General Pat once said, success is not reaching the top, it's how high you bounce when you hit the bottom.
That's coming from a guy who's out there on the road every single day doing what he needs to do to drive success in his organization.
No limitations. No limit. Actually, I think he's secretly writing a book on different states of the United States, the state of the roads, the places to sleep. He's writing
I am writing a book. It's called An Institutionalized Mind. I like how people get institutionalized in whatever condition they're in from their environment. So actually, that's funny. That's the name of my book. It's called An Institutionalized Mind.
There you go. Good. Well, thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to Lawrence and I here once again. Come every week, 9:30 every Friday, same link. Bring some new folks with you. I think we're making a difference, not only on these Friday calls, on our team calls, with the forum, and great things to come in the future. I'm more excited today than I was yesterday about what we have and where this is headed. So I hope you guys are too. We'll see everybody next Friday. Have a great weekend.
Blessings, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Great call.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Thanks, Dan.